Welcome back. All right, so another Penguins jersey today for a career video. And today we're going to talk about Tom Barrasso, who played a long time in Pittsburgh. Played a long time in general, and considering that he went through a lot of injuries over the years, the fact he played as long as he did, the fact that he ended up with as many games played as he did is nothing short of remarkable. And he was a goaltender who burst onto the scene by being drafted fifth overall by the Buffalo Sabres in 1983. And remember, with goaltenders, you don't rush them to the NHL. Buffalo did. Buffalo absolutely did. And I remember at the time, there was a lot of head scratching, like, well, he's a kid. He's right out of high school. What are you doing? It worked. In 42 games in 83-84, he wins 26 games, which was seventh overall. 12 losses, 3 ties, 893 save percentage, which was fourth overall. So remembering that this is during an era where save percentages are much lower than what we see now. In the playoffs, he lost 2 games out of the 3 he appeared in and had an 864 save percentage. But don't let those playoffs dampen what was a great year. He wins the Calder, he wins the Vezina, the third goaltender to ever win the Vezina and the Calder the same year. He's a first-team All-Star, of course, and he was ninth in voting for the Hart. So, yeah, Tom Barrasso burst onto the scene, and really, how do you follow that up? It is tough to follow that up. 84-85, he tried his best. 54 games, 25 wins, which was eighth that season in the NHL. 18 losses, 10 ties. 887 save percentage, which was sixth overall in the NHL. In the playoffs, in 5 games, he had a record of 2-3. 854 save percentage. So the playoffs a bit of a rough time for him, but he goes to the All-Star game. That's the only time he played in the All-Star game in his career, which surprised me. Jennings Award as well for lowest goals against average, which was Buffalo Sabres. It's a team award. Second team All-Star and second in Vezina voting. So that's how you follow up a really good rookie season with an excellent second season. No sophomore jinx here. But 85-86, well, we're getting into a little bit of a tough time for Buffalo. 60 games played for Barrasso that year, 29 wins, which was third. The 24 losses was also third. 5 ties and an 879 save percentage. So the drop-off for Barrasso was something, but Buffalo's was as well. 86-87, that continues. In 46 games played, he had 17 wins, 23 losses, which is fifth overall, and 2 ties. 873 save percentage. So, yeah, that number is dropped, and it just keeps dropping. But 87-88, he comes back, as does the Buffalo Sabres. In 54 games, he had 25 wins, which was fifth overall to go with 18 losses and 8 ties. 896 save percentage, which is sixth overall in the NHL. In 4 playoff games, a 1-3 record with an 866 save percentage. He was second in Vezina voting that year. So coming out of the 87-88 season, things are looking up for Buffalo. Things look good, but Barrasso ends up having a rough start to 88-89, gets traded. In 10 games for Buffalo, 2-7 record with an 842 save percentage. Those are miserable numbers. And November 12th, Buffalo decides we're going to trade him. Or likely had decided before that, but they did trade him on November 12th. He's traded with a 1990 third-round pick in exchange for Doug Bodger and Darren Shannon. Players who, both of them useful players. Bodger, a pretty good scoring defenseman. But surprising that Barrasso gets traded, and yet Buffalo will be okay in net. A few years down the road here, Buffalo's going to get themselves a pretty good goaltender. They won't necessarily forget Barrasso, but I think they'll be all right. So after going to Pittsburgh, he plays 44 games, had a record of 18, 15, and 7. The 15 losses combined with the 7 with Buffalo, the 22 losses altogether is 5th overall in the NHL. 888 save percentage with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So save percentage gets better by 46 points. 11 playoff games, 7-4 record, 897 save percentage. So where he's gone from is a team that doesn't progress very far in the playoffs when they make it, to go to a team that doesn't progress very far in the playoffs when they make it. It's going from one iffy situation to another. The difference with this new situation being Mario Lemieux. 89-90, he only played 24 games that year, 7-12-3 record, 865 save percentage. So this is the injury thing that happens with Barrasso a lot, but he does tend to bounce back, as he did in 90-91. 48 games played, 27 wins, which was 5th overall. 16 losses, 3 ties, 896 save percentage, which was 10th overall in the NHL. 20 games played in the playoffs, a 12-7 record, 919 save percentage. I believe that was the year that he split with Frank Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo being in the net here and there, but Barrasso ends up being the guy with 12 wins and a Stanley Cup. 91-92, and it is Pietrangelo, even though his relative pronounces it Pietrangelo and plays for the Vegas Golden Knights. 91-92, 57 games played, 25 wins, which is 10th overall in the NHL that year, 22 losses, which is 7th, 9 ties, 885 save percentage. But even though the numbers are mediocre, it doesn't matter, because playoff time, he turns it on. 21 games, 16-5 record, 907 save percentage, and a Stanley Cup. The one thing I remembered with Barrasso that second year was, and this is a Pittsburgh thing, where the goaltender can be good, doesn't have to be great. So it's the same line as Colorado had with Kemper this year, where he had to be good, didn't have to be great. And when you're playing on a team that's got Lemieux, got Yager, and a bunch of other really good players, you're probably all right. 92-93, 63 games played. That was a career high to that point. And it would tie the career high that he had later, too. 43 wins, which is first overall in the NHL. 14 losses, 5 ties, 901 save percentage, which is fourth. I talked about this in videos lately, too. The 92-93 Penguins were a remarkable team. And Barrasso, leading the league in wins, one of the top 5 guys in save percentage. He was second team All-Star and second in Vezina voting. In the playoffs, 12 games, a 7-5 record, 905 save percentage. But, of course, they lost in the second round as they went for their third straight Stanley Cup. 93-94, he plays 44 games, 22-15-5 record, 893 save percentage in the playoffs. He has a 2-4 record in 6 games with an 895 save percentage. 94-95, he had right hand surgery that took him out for 43 of the 48 games on this schedule. So he only plays 2 games, 0-1-1 record, 893 save percentage. He only played 2 playoff games as well. An 0-1 record with a 905 save percentage. And this is what I'm talking about. He bounces back. The following season, plays 49 games, 29 wins, which is 9th overall, to go with 16 losses, 2 ties, 902 save percentage. In the playoffs, he's 4-5 in 10 games with a 923 save percentage. He is generally better in the playoffs than he is in the regular season, which is good if you're a goaltender. It's a good way to make sure you keep your job. 96-97, he was having recurring shoulder problems, and it took him out for a lot of this season. He only plays 5 games. He lost all 5. 860 save percentage. Not necessarily a shocker that he'd be struggling with a shoulder problem. But 97-98, he bounces back yet again. 63 games played, 31 wins, which is 6th overall, to go with 14 losses and 13 ties. 922 save percentage, which is 2nd overall. So his best save percentage in his career is 97-98. Is he a better goaltender in 98 than he was in 83-84? That's debatable. But the game has changed. And so save percentages with goaltenders steadily going up. And Barrasso was one of those guys that it worked for. And not all goaltenders did. Some of the 80s goaltenders, we get into the 90s, their numbers don't necessarily get better. In the playoffs, he has a 2-4 record in 6 games with a 901 save percentage, but he was 3rd in Vezina voting that year. So, again, bounce backs, he is able to have those. 98-99, he missed some games with injury this year as well. 43 games, 19-16-3 record, 901 save percentage. In the playoffs, 13 games played, 6-7 record with a 900 save percentage. 99-2000, injuries are an issue, and at this point, he's been in the league for a long time. It's 16 years, right? So he plays 18 games for the Penguins, a 5-7-2 record, 881 save percentage. But the Ottawa Senators are looking for a playoff-hardened goaltender. They want a guy who can come in and maybe win something for them. And oddly enough, of course, Barrasso leaves Buffalo, a team that's going to get Hasek. Barrasso ends up going to Ottawa, a team that would end up getting Hasek later on. So there's some rhyming there, I guess. Sure, why not? So he was traded on March 14th by Pittsburgh to Ottawa in exchange for Jani Laukkanen and Ron Tugnutt, one of my favorite goaltenders of all time, who I've already done a career video on. 99-2000 then with the Ottawa Senators. He has a bit of a rough start. He ends up playing 7 games during the regular season, a 3-4 record with an 879 save percentage. He had a rough start to the playoffs as well, but ends up winning a couple of games, but in the end they lost to the Leafs. So in 6 games, he's 2-4 with a 905 save percentage, which again was better than his first couple of games. So on July 17th, as a UFA, which is also part of the reason Pittsburgh trades him, right? His contract's running out. So 2001, he signs as a UFA in Carolina. And he plays 34 games there with a record of 13, 12, and 5. 906 save percentage. But the trade deadline comes up. So March 15th, they decide to move him on because it's only a one-year contract he signed. He is traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for a 2003 fourth-round pick. In Toronto, he plays 4 games, a 2-2 record, 909 save percentage. And then he goes to market, and he stays out there for a while, and it's into the season by the time he's signed. November 1st, he signs as a UFA. 6 games, 1-4 record with an 879 save percentage. I believe this is as well. He ends up with a back injury. He had some back problems going on, and really doesn't play very much for St. Louis, and that would be where his career would come to an end. June 18th of 2003, he signed a one-day contract with the Pittsburgh Penguins so he could retire as a member of that team. But really a remarkable career. 2002, he won the silver medal at the Salt Lake City Olympics with Team USA. And 2009, he was inducted into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. 777 games played as 22nd amongst goaltenders. 369 wins is 19th all-time among goaltenders. 277 losses is 24th. 86 ties is 36th all-time. And that includes overtime and shootout losses as well when they get into that all-time. 892 save percentage, and then in the playoffs, 119 games played, a record of 61 and 54 with a 902 save percentage. So his save percentage in the playoffs is 10 points higher than his save percentage during the regular season, and that shows that he could elevate his game in the playoffs. He was a very solid playoff goaltender for those Pittsburgh Penguins with back-to-back Stanley Cups, and he's not in the NHL Hall of Fame. He's got 2 cup rings, he's got the Calder, he's got the Vezina, and he's got a Jennings as well. So he's one of those decorated goaltenders that maybe at some point in time the NHL, or not NHL, the Hockey Hall of Fame Committee, which is not affiliated with the NHL, maybe the Hockey Hall of Fame Committee sits down at some point and says, you know, Barrasso, who had a reputation for kind of being a jerk, deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. At some point in time, maybe that happens. We'll see. And again, that's just his reputation was out there. But it feels like with goaltenders, they can be hot-headed. They can be weird. They're not boring people to be around has basically been the rule with goaltenders. And especially in this era, it felt like the goaltenders were always a bit of a different breed. But in Barrasso's case, it was a winning one as well. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.